going on, guys? It's your host, Peter Blake, here on another edition of Timeout Live on 24 Flix with my co-host, Mr. Chris Cuff. Welcome, my friend. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on. How are you doing?
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. How have you been, man? How's it been going?
It's been real busy here. You know, lots of football stories going on. You got XFL, NBA All-Star Game, NHL action, NBA action. So I haven't gotten an opportunity to really rest, if you will. But that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Before we get out to that, we have a new Super Bowl champion, Mr. Chris Cuff. Super Bowl 57 being in the books. And it's the Kansas City Chiefs in a thriller 38-35. I got to get your thoughts on this because an exciting game. It looked like the majority of it was going to be dominated by Philadelphia. And then, of course, a momentum swing there, a turnover right before halftime. And then after that, the Chiefs really didn't look back. Your thoughts?
Man, how dramatic was that, right? So the Eagles were pushing, scoring, doing everything in the first half. Then Mahomes goes down after he wasn't really hit when they took him down, but he's hobbling back to the locker room. And then, you think, oh my gosh, this is it. Who's going to win the rest? They've already dominated the first half. And what did I tell you? That Mahomes magic. You cannot go against that Mahomes magic. They dominated the second half, came back, and just took it, man. Patrick Mahomes is on his way to being one of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
He's got ways to go.
Yes.
He's not there yet.
Well, 2 Super Bowls in 4 years will definitely do that, and you're exactly right. But right before halftime, it looks like he goes down. He's limping. He's shaken up. You're not sure what to think. You're like, uh-oh, Kansas City's in trouble. And then not only that, the Eagles are up 24-14. So you're thinking, you know what? The Eagles have this in hand. But, of course, the Chiefs go down on a long drive. They make a game of it, and then at that point, never look back. And I tell you right now, the story of the game for me and the matchup or the advantage that I thought coming into it was the Eagles' defense getting after Mahomes. So credit to where credit is due. The Kansas City offensive line keeping Mahomes, relatively clean. No sacks given up. Here's the Philadelphia Eagle defense coming into it. 80 sacks, including the postseason, getting after it. And then on top of that, not only not able to get after the quarterback, not able to stop the running game and Isaiah Pacheco, and of course, blown coverages, which really helped the Chiefs. And the main play there with 1:30 left, holding by James Bradbury, controversial, but it was the right call. Can you call it at that point? I got to ask you, do the refs in this game deserve a timeout for that holding call? Should they have left it up to the players at the end of the day?
Man, I don't think so, man. There's so much that went into the end of that game. And I know in the past, a few games, there's some issues that we had with some of the calls. But this one, the game was relatively clean. There might have been a thing here or there, but they just played football. I mean, come on. You got 2 guys doing in and outs, basically. A quick in and out, a fake cross, and then darted out. And it worked twice for touchdowns in the same place. Come on, Philly. Come on, Philly. You can't let it go down like that.
Philly's defense deserves a timeout because I don't know how you have all those coverage breakdowns over and over again. And I get it. Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, they're geniuses and they know how to make adjustments. And they did that in the second half. But it's just unbelievable that first and foremost, the defensive coordinator actually got a head coaching job with the Arizona Cardinals with that defensive game plan because there was no answer in the second half and players had to be accountable. And, of course, James Bradbury feels bad. Feels probably worse than anybody else. But I almost feel like I would have left it up to the players at the end of the day. Of course, a controversial call. The refs not calling it the whole game until it counts. Of course, it gives them second life, that being the Chiefs. Jerick McKinnon looks like he's going to go in for a touchdown, slides down, and, of course, a field goal by Butker to win the game. And, of course, the Chiefs with their
play. Smart
very
play.
Very smart play, yes.
You hear Olsen talking about, get down, like he's a coach out in the field. That was awesome. Let me ask you this, Pete.
Yes.
What did you think of the Rihanna halftime show?
I thought it was amazing in itself. A lot of people were not liking it. They said she lip synced, but She was pregnant. I mean, what do you want? The poor lady sitting there trying to entertain everybody for 13 minutes. She's moving around better than I move around off my couch sometimes on a Saturday morning. So I have nothing but great things to say. She's a talented artist. Do I think she missed the opportunity to have a Jay-Z out there? Yes. Maybe a Kanye. I get it. It's controversial. That could have helped. But, at the end of the day, it's Rihanna. How could you not like that halftime show? And, of course, it was the second highest rated halftime show all time behind Katy Perry in 2015. And also, this was the third watch Super Bowl in NFL history. So overall, you have to feel pretty good about the performance, the presentation, about what the NFL getting it done as always. So a lot of complaints out there, but at the end of the day, she's pregnant. She's a true professional. What did you think about it?
Man, that's a trooper. Did you see how high she was up in the air? That was crazy. And I didn't think anything of it until at the end when they have the close-up of the stage and the stage is shimmying while she's standing up there. Mama is up there in the sky at the top of the stadium, pregnant. I mean, come on. I was wondering why she wasn't dancing. That was my answer right there. A+. She's no Beyonce, as Stephen A. Smith said. But
who is? There's only one Beyonce. Come on now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
She pulled it through. No supporting acts, just her. She did it all. So, hey,
were you disappointed by that? Yeah. Should they?
I was. She had enough material to do it, man, and she did it. She didn't really need anybody else, but it might have given her a break while she was pregnant. Did you see her going out the stadium and Strahan trying to chase her down?
Strahan doing his thing like always. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That was nuts, man. Good God. So tell me, okay, so that's old news, but let's talk about what's going on with the Bucs now. They've made some moves. They're doing some coaching shifts. What's happening with the Brady-less Bucs? Are we rebuilding, as we discussed before on your show about the Bucs rebuilding without post Brady, or what are they doing? What's going on?
Well, the news that came out was that Tom Brady was filing his retirement papers, and of course he could become a free agent if that goes through on March 16th. But the big news is that $35 million cap hit is going to hit the cap. So we'll see what the Bucs do, because now they're $55 million over. So a lot of people assume that they're rebuilding, but I just can't fathom this, Chris, right? I mean, Todd Bowles finally gets his head coaching job, gets his staff together. He's definitely on the hot seat. I can't see a rebuild. And of course, going back to it, yes, the Bucs are in cap hell with $55 million, but so the New Orleans Saints the last 5 years, and they've been able to be competitive. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Bucs do. Coaching wise, they finally hire an offensive coordinator and a former quarterback coach, former wide receiving coach, former passing coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, Dave Canales, who is 41 years old, started coaching when he was 28 under Pete Carroll from USC. So I think that's an impressive hire. The fans out there are kind of wondering, what does he bring? It's going to be interesting. He definitely has some energy, definitely has some type of plan that Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization liked. But the problem is he's never called plays in the National Football League. But Chris, I think this is kind of the trend that's in the league right now. You're hiring young minds who don't necessarily have to call plays. You need young guys, young blood, instead of recycled coaches like a lot of teams always do.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to have to give you a timeout.
Oh, no, why?
Because the Saints are garbage. So, yeah, that doesn't fly. But also, I mean, have you seen the NFC South? Come on, man. The Bucs won with a sub 500 record. So the Saints are trash. You can't count on that. What do you think of a rumor that's being floated of possibly Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Bucs?
Well, before we get to that, I'm going to give you a timeout, because the Saints during the regular season, besides this year, usually dominate not only the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the NFC South. And that's my point. They've been in a cap hell the last 5 years, and yet they're still able to be competitive. So that was my point. But you're exactly right. The Bucs won that division with 8 wins. Is right this year.
Live in the now.
Right.
Live in the now.
The now is that Todd Bowles is definitely on the hot seat. So I don't see a rebuild. I think the capologist over there will be able to make that happen. with the Jimmy Garoppolo rumor, I definitely think it's relevant because when he's healthy, which Chris, he hasn't been able to be healthy the last couple years, he wins. He wins on the strength of a run game. He wins on the strength of a defense. Now, the thing is, how much will he cost? Will he cost over $30 million? That may be out of the Bucs price range. If it's under because he's been hurt so many years here, the last couple, then who knows? I definitely think he's on the Bucs radar, but a lot of people say Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew. I would like Derek Carr, but maybe he priced himself out. Aaron Rodgers is out there. I mean, but it could be Brissett. It could be Baker Mayfield. Guys like that, people say, give Kyle Trask a chance. Never started in the NFL, never taken a snap in a full game. I mean, he did it in the second half versus the Atlanta Falcons, which meant absolutely nothing. And he's had the last couple of years to even overtake a Blaine Gabbert and hasn't been able to do that. But people are like, give it a chance, give it a chance. I just don't think you take that chance with the weapons that you have around with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. You don't want to waste their talents on a quarterback that's unproven. And I'll tell you another thing, which was interesting today because we had some breaking news. Not only did the Bucs hire George Edwards for outside linebacker coach from the Dallas Cowboys, they also hired Skip Peete, who was the running back coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, why is that relevant? Because the Bucs last year were 32nd in the NFL when it came to a rushing attack. And then none other than Geno Smith, who is a free agent quarterback from the Seattle Seahawks, 30 quarterbacks, 11 interceptions, announced that the Bucs hired a quarterback coach by the name of Thad Lewis. He says, my boy Thad Lewis got the Bucs quarterback coach job. Bro, that's crazy. So happy for the progress of everyone in our camp. I was a freshman in high school starting quarterback on varsity and went to watch him in HML versus Northwestern. And Thad was the quarterback at HML 3 years ago. We spoke this up. Now, of course, Clyde Christensen retired as the Bucs quarterback coach. It's kind of connect the dots season, if you will. Dave Canales, former assistant with the Seattle Seahawks, did great things with Geno Smith. And now Geno Smith talking to quarterback coach Thad Lewis. Should I think if the Seattle Seahawks let Geno Smith go in free agency, that the Bucs would be the first call?
Geno Smith. Geno Smith's history, being from New Jersey.
Living the here and now, my friend. Going back to you, 30 touchdowns, 11 receptions, most improved quarterback in the league. I mean, you go with Kyle Trask, Baker Mayfield, or Geno Smith.
How many years has he been in the league?
True. Very true. Yes. Right.
One out of what? 4 or 5 years?
Well, first and foremost, here's my question for you. Do the Seattle Seahawks let him go and test free agency? Do they franchise him? Do they pay him top quarterback money, which can be in excess of over $30 million? Do you take your chances with a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who would absolutely be interested? And it certainly seems like, I'm just saying, the stars are kind of aligning here. Dave Canales, Thad Lewis, Geno Smith in Tampa. Just saying.
Are you up on your Bucs pirate ship in the end zone, looking through your Bucs goggles?
I am.
At things that look. At least you admit it. At least you admit it.
Listen, everybody's like,
you admit it.
This team is rebuilding. I don't think they're rebuilding. I think they're retooling. I get it. You have cap, but as I've said on my show before, the cap to me is like the national debt, right? We continue to talk about it, but nothing is done. It just gets bigger and bigger. That's what I think about the NFL salary cap. If the Bucs want to spend money and make things happen, they'll restructure deals. They'll cut people like a Donovan Smith, like a Ryan Suckup, like a Leonard Fournette to make those things happen at the end of the day. And I think you got to, because not only is Todd Bowles on the hot seat, but of course Jason Light, because you underachieved last year. You're exactly right. You won the NFC South, one of the worst divisions with only 8 wins with Tom Brady. But I happen to think this team will be a lot better with no distractions off the field, a quarterback that's in place, more balanced attack, running the ball, and that defense being healthy. Yeah, maybe I do have my Bucs goggles on, but you know what?
Of course you do. Look at your background. Of course you do.
Right.
Of course you do. But let's look at this. It's all about Janet Jackson, right? What have you done for me lately? That's what
Great
it's
song,
about.
by the way. Google
Okay.
that, kids, if you
Yeah.
don't know.
Love it. Yeah, kids. That's Janet. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. But
Yes.
yeah, so I think Gino, um, shoot, if they can franchise him, I think that would be a good move. They save some money. They'll have him for at least another year, and they can see what
Wow.
else they can build around him. So I would franchise Gino if I were in
See,
Seattle.
and you deserve a timeout because you were just telling me he's only did it for 1 year. So I'm thinking on the other side there, if I'm Seattle and he's only done it 1 year, am I going to give this guy a franchise tag? I get it. You may not want to lose a quarterback, but again, you have a high draft pick, don't you? So you could draft one of these quarterbacks or trade up. I think you're somewhat right though in the way of, yes, he's only done it 1 year, but I'm just saying, connect the dots.
Yeah, it's kind of
with the Bucks. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk. There's been a lot of moves going on since it's officially off season, right?
Yes.
One thing I love about the NFL, it's a 365-day a year sport. It's the only sport that's like that right now, and so stuff is constantly going on that keeps us giving us stuff to talk about. So big moves. First one you mentioned, Eric Bieniemy. He's gone to the commies. He has been commandeered as the Chiefs' offensive coordinator and official
commies.
Assistant. They will always be the commies, man. And also assistant head coach or co-head coach, something like that. Little extra power. He won't have Andy Reid on top of him calling all the plays. Eric will be calling the plays. It gives him some more light and maybe opportunities for a head coaching spot, because it seems that as long as he had Andy Reid on top of him calling the plays, he got no love out there in his head coaching interviews. So things like that.
Which I don't understand, because he's done over 15 interviews in the National Football League for a head coach. You mean to tell me that you wouldn't give Eric Bieniemy a coaching shot? And there's a lot of pundits out there saying he doesn't interview well, but for me, the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, Kansas City is a powerhouse, and to sit here and say, well, it's just Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, that's not fair. And even one of his former players, who, by the way, he benched on Fox Sports 1, LaShawn McCoy, said, well, he's going to have a lot more responsibility. I'm not sure if an NFL team sees the value there. And I'm thinking, man, this is sour grapes. This coach has done everything to prove himself. He should have had a head coaching job a couple years ago. I don't understand what the holdup is. I'm excited for him because at the end of the day, I love Ron Rivera, but I feel like he's also on the hot seat. And if he doesn't get it done, then Eric Bieniemy should be the first guy that you call and tab as the new head coach of the Washington Commanders if he proves himself. Right. He has.
Right. Other different moves. I'm just gonna grab some names that pop up to me. Brian Flores, former Dolphins head coach. He's defensive coordinator for the Vikings now. Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. Mike LaFleur, offensive coordinator for the LA Rams. We talked about this before. Kellen Moore, the Cowboys. He went to Chargers. I still want to call them the San Diego Chargers, man. I
do too.
Shane Steichen, former Eagles offensive coordinator, head coach at Indianapolis. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sean Payton, that's the big one. Former Saints head coach.
Huge move.
Denver Broncos. I hope he can handle that atmospheric pressure up there, as well as the job pressure. And what do you think he's going to do with old Russ up there in Denver?
Well, look, it was disappointing with Russell Wilson last year, and that Bronco team being on prime time for the majority of the season was just awful. So hopefully he can definitely turn it around. Sean Payton's been able to do that. Only one Super Bowl, but a consistent team. Also, the quarterback play has always improved over him. Not only a Drew Brees, but of course a Teddy Bridgewater or Jameis Winston. He's gotten the most out of his quarterbacks, and I think that's what John Elway and the Broncos are thinking about. Him going in there, turning around Russell Wilson, who had a dreadful year along with that offense. They have the pieces coming in already, and just saying it to the press that Wilson is not going to have his way. He's not going to have his own private room and this and that and the other thing. Just a lot of things that were put out there already, taking a stand. And look, this has paid off in the past. This comes back.
Out his trainer.
Yes,
he kicked out his personal trainer. Get out, bro. Get
out. Yeah, get out. I mean, don't hire that guy for Tom Brady. That's not going to work out for Alex Guerrero. But you're exactly right. Kicks out his trainer, and he's taking a stand, right? And that's what you have to do. You have accountability. That Denver Bronco team didn't have it. That's a tough division at the end of the day. AFC West, you have the Raiders who are trying to improve. They're trying to find out who their quarterback is, of course. You've got Kansas City Super Bowl champions. You got the Chargers. So you're definitely going to have to be more accountable. You're going to have to put some wins together because at the end of the day, it's not Sean Payton that's on the hot seat. It's John Elway, in my opinion. So you're going to have to start winning. I think he did the right thing. And going back to the annals of history, when a coach gets traded, John Gruden for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, he ended up winning a Super Bowl in 2002. So it worked out, and I think that's what Denver is kind of contemplating with the hiring of Sean Payton.
Yeah, I agree. So that was disappointing because I wanted him to come back home to Dallas, but
yeah, I think they're going to go with Mike McCarthy, and that's the reason why they fired Kellen Moore, and that's the reason why they fired George Edwards and Skip Pete Clean house, and of course scapegoats at the end of the day, right? Scapegoats for McCarthy, and McCarthy is going to have to win.
They did pick up Brian Schottenheimer, former Seahawks OC, to run the offense for Dallas. So that's interesting. Gosh, it looks like the Cardinals.
There's a rumor out there with your team. There was actually a rumor out there with your team that Jerry Jones could be intrigued or interested in C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. Already pushing the reset button here or the panic button on Dak Prescott?
You know what? I haven't heard that one. It disappoints me. I'm trying different 24 Flix jerseys, right?
Right.
Shirts. This is my LA Chargers shirt.
Where's my shirt at? Yeah, I do. I need one. You need to send me one. I didn't get the memo. What's going on here?
Boss.
Yeah, you got to tell the boss.
Tell the boss for sure.
Yes.
Arizona picks from the Eagles coaching guys. So former Eagles linebacker coach Nick Rallis is hired as DC defensive coordinator, and then they hired Jonathan Gannon, former Eagles defensive coordinator, as head coach.
Right. Who clearly looked like he looked like he had his mind on a head coaching job with the defensive adjustments in the second half versus the Kansas City Chiefs. But again, there's rumors out there that are circulating, and it's rumor speculation season that Kyler Murray is never going to play for the Arizona Cardinals. And that's the problem when you hire new coaches that haven't drafted these quarterbacks that you already have in place. You better make sure that first and foremost, they checked off on a Kyler Murray, and remains to be seen. He's coming off an injury, but usually when you hire a coach, he wants his own guy. And that could be happening right now with the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields, because there's been rumors flying around that the Bears would be interested in trading a Justin Fields by none other than Warren Sapp, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. We talked about that. So that could be happening.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts about that? What do you think about?
It would be a mistake if you trade Justin Fields from Chicago to another team. I think he's an extremely talented quarterback. You're now pushing the reset button once again. I mean, that's the problem with the Bears. They've never been able to develop a quarterback. It's like a quarterback graveyard there. With Fields, he's extremely athletic. He's got to learn to throw from the pocket consistently, much like a Jalen Hurts. I think they have the same type of numbers, so that progression can get better if you build that offensive line, if you give him some weapons on the outside and you build that defense. Chicago has the most cap space in the National Football League, so they're going to have every opportunity to build around this young man instead of trading him away. I really don't get it, unless, once again, it goes back to the coaching staff saying, we want our guy. We don't think Justin Fields is the guy. And then this traces back to what the Arizona Cardinals did just a couple years ago when they drafted the greatness that never realized in a Josh Rosen, and then a couple years later drafted Kyler Murray. I mean, it's ludicrous to think that you draft a quarterback first overall and then eventually you push the reset button. But we've seen that the last couple of years, namely also with the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield.
There is a prize out there at quarterback, right?
Yeah.
There's prize out there, though, from Alabama, Bryce Young, who's got people really, really drooling. So you think that's the prize that Chicago is looking for, right?
Possibly CJ Stroud. I mean, both of those quarterbacks, but Young's a little bit smaller. I don't know. Lamar Jackson's also out there, possibly, if Baltimore doesn't franchise him, which I expect him. And then you've got the darkness guy right there in the darkness retreat, Aaron Rodgers. You could go to the Jets. You could go to the Raiders. He could go anywhere. So it's a quarterback carousel, whether it's free agents this year or in the draft. There's definitely some quarterbacks out there you can get. Not only a Bryce Young out of Alabama, but also a CJ Stroud, a Will Levis from Kentucky, even an Anthony Richardson from our own backyard here with the Florida Gators could possibly be there.
Right.
A lot of mock drafts putting him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you actually had something you said that there's
gonna go.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have a list of off-season predictions, and since you're our NFL expert, I want to go through some of these with you. We'll start at the bottom. I already asked one, Jimmy Garoppolo signing with the Bucs. You gave your opinion on that. He could last a quarter of the season, so I don't know. All right. Kyle Trask will get his playing time if Jimmy Garoppolo comes, for sure.
By the way, are you a Kyle Trask fan?
No, I'm so disappointed. I hate the Gators too. I'm a Seminoles fan, so it kind of goes with the program. There you go. Right. Derek Carr to the New York Jets.
That's certainly possible. I mean, they had a dinner. They were wining him and dining him there in New York, New Jersey, wherever they were. I don't know if he can handle that press, but if you want to talk about it, the Jets in that situation, for me, it's a great situation. They have a built-in defense. They have some offensive weapons. They just need a quarterback. And if they had a better one than Zach Wilson, then it certainly makes sense. With Derek Carr, you look at his record, 63-79. He's had multiple offensive coordinators, which hurts the development of a young quarterback. And then furthermore, you don't have that defense. Well, now you have that stability with a new offensive coordinator, new system. Hopefully you keep him around for a couple years, and a defense that can get after it. You're going to one of the toughest divisions in football in the AFC East, with Buffalo, Miami improving, and of course the New England Patriots. So definitely think it can happen, but I kind of think the Jets are going to hold out for Aaron Rodgers and try to go for him, with the report this week that the Packers are disgusted with him and ready to move on. And if I'm the Packers, I would be too.
Yeah, I would too. Only thing about Derek Carr, he has about 6 million interceptions, so that kind of taints him a little bit.
He had a high number of interceptions this year. His completion percentage went down to 60%. He definitely didn't have a great year, but was that because of Josh McDaniels? Was that because of a new offensive system? I'm still willing to give it a shot because he's a multiple 4,000 passer, 4,000 yards a season. He's a Pro Bowler. And I just like the way you talked about the Raiders. So that was great. Right. It's just
okay. Number 8, I hate if they do this, man. I'm really going to be wearing this LA Chargers shirt always. Tony Pollard in free agency is drawing major interest to leave the Cowboys.
No.
Why would you leave?
He's not leaving.
He's better than Zeke. He better not leave, man.
Yeah, he's not leaving. I mean, is he going to get interest? Absolutely. But remember, he's coming off a leg injury. I believe it was a broken leg, right? It changed the whole outcome of that game versus the 49ers. In my opinion, he's the younger back. He's the younger option. That offense is different. Zeke is the one that's going to get dumped. I don't see that happening. Would he have major interest? Absolutely. We just talked about it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have their former running back coach in a Skip Pete. He's a younger option than Leonard Fournette, but I just don't see him getting out in free agency. He's going to stick with the Cowboys.
Right. Okay, this next one. And this is, again, we were doing 10 crazy NFL offseason predictions. This is actually from CBS Sports, written by Jordan Dejani. Daniel Snyder sells the commies to Jeff Bezos, Jay-Z, and Matthew McConaughey. All right.
All right,
Your
all
thoughts?
right, all right. I mean, is this a music video that's being ran by Jamie Foxx? I mean, do you remember that list? What was it? Ron Howard and Forrest Whitaker. And I mean, you could do a music video off of this. Jay-Z could have Dan Snyder, Jeff Bezos, and Matthew McConaughey. No, I don't think anybody's going to have Dan Snyder or come near Dan Snyder in a music video, especially with all the allegations off the field. But joking aside, all these men have money. They're all businessmen at the end of the day. Does your team get a lot better? Absolutely. Without Daniel Snyder, he should not be an owner in this league with all the allegations off the field. The NFL should have already taken the team away from him. It's been he's completely classless and honestly, he has not been a great owner when it comes to the Washington Commanders or Washington football team, whatever they want to call themselves this year. So I would be excited, and I definitely think it's a great thing for Jay-Z to be a part of ownership, right? He's already has a partnership with the National Football League. It definitely would be interesting to see Jay-Z and be a part of that ownership at the end of the day. And of course, Jeff Bezos has all that money from Amazon. So
all that money was be a little trinket from his hundreds of billions of dollars.
Are they going to win games? I mean, that's what I want to know. With this ownership, are they going to win games? That's what Washington.
I hope not.
Wondering.
I hope not, because it's the commies. I don't want them to win games. No, they can do whatever they want.
All with the greatness of Sam Howell, the second-year quarterback there from North Carolina. So we'll see how that works out.
That's right. This next one, very possible. I think he talked with them too. Odell Beckham Jr. signs back with the New York Giants.
I don't know where he's going to sign. And after that scene on video with him just losing his mind, being drunk, I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be interested in him, although he's uniquely talented. When he's healthy, is he fully healed? We shall see. I definitely think there's a lot of teams out there that will be interested. I think your Cowboys.
Did you say he was drunk? I'm about to give you a timeout.
Whoa.
He wasn't drunk. Didn't you hear what he said? He was sleepy. He was sleepy.
Oh, he was sleepy.
Sleep. Yeah, he was just sleepy. That's what he said.
They escort him off the plane there because he was so
sleepy. Haven't you had a heavy sleep? Come on, man.
He was heavy sleeping. He was having a fight with the kicking net there with the Giants. Is it possible he signs with the New York Giants? Absolutely. There's a possibility he could sign with anybody. He could sign with the Dallas Cowboys. He could sign with the Baltimore Ravens. So I don't know where to predict him to go. I thought it was going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer with Tom Brady, but of course that didn't necessarily work out. So we'll see.
Everybody wanted him for this year. He was not healed. He was not ready. So
not ready to go.
And it was all he wanted.
Not ready to take that plane either.
That's right. Okay. First, the next topic we talked about, but have you heard any news about this guy after he came out of being in a closet for 4 days?
Who was that?
Aaron Rodgers. Came out of the closet.
Came out of his dark room. You mean the dark room?
Yeah, the dark room. Sorry.
I have no idea what Aaron Rodgers is going to do at this point. Is it foreshadowing, if you will? Is he going to be in the black hole with the Las Vegas Raiders? I feel like that would make sense with Devontae Adams. Then again, the Jets, they hired Nathaniel Hackett as the new offensive coordinator there. So would that make sense for him to join up with the Jets? I mean, if you're the Jets or the Raiders, who do you want? Aaron Rodgers? Do you want Derek Carr? Which one?
I try to get a year out of Aaron Rodgers. Honestly,
Rodgers is not going to return to the Packers. He won't return. He's not. Coming back.
That's their prediction. I don't think so either.
They're going to go with Jordan Love, and they should go with Jordan Love. They drafted him a couple years ago as a first-round pick. I think Aaron Rodgers ends up possibly with the Jets, and
it's going to be interesting. The New York media will be all over that, man. That would be wonderful, man.
Well, and then or you could have Derek Carr end up with the Jets, and you can have Aaron Rodgers end up with the Raiders. That would make lots of sense.
Both of those would be great. Fantastic.
Yep.
Anthony Richard falls to the end of the first round. Anthony Richardson, UF quarterback. That's very possible.
Wow. Right? That is absolutely possible. Yeah, Lamar Jackson, who fell to the last pick of the Baltimore Ravens, and that seemed to work out Same type of talent, right? Very mobile, bigger than Jackson, can throw the ball, just can't do it consistently enough, is not accurate enough, but has all the tools. I'm going to X out on this. I'm going to give you a timeout. I don't think he can the ball because there's going to be
he just needs time.
Well, that's the thing. And he needs, some repetitions, right? And there's going to be an offensive coordinator out there. There's going to be a general manager out there. There's going to be owners saying, you know what? Anthony Richardson may be the next great quarterback. He's got the mobility. He's got all the skills. I don't think he lasts past the first round. I think there's a team that either trades up for him or drafts him straight up in that first round because he's going to probably kill it in the combine.
Yeah, and he's got one thing that you can't coach, and that's size, for sure.
That's it.
He's going to be awesome.
It. And he may be the best
NFL.
athlete in this draft, which is crazy in itself, right?
Very true. Very true. Let's see. NFL makes the roughing the passer penalty even worse. Going stronger on that. How can they do that? You can't touch him? They can put flags on the quarterback? No, that makes it, then they can't touch him, right?
Yes, it's going to be flag football eventually. Just like that debacle that was the Pro Bowl skills competition. You watch that? That's what the NFL wants. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like the penalties that are being called right now, they're trying to take away some tackles. It's tackle football. You're going to get hit. It's going to hurt. That's what tackle football. I get it. You're trying to do something about the injury situation and about the concussions, but there's not a lot you can do. I mean, it's a car crash every time you hit someone. So will the NFL make roughing the passer even worse? Yes, of course they will.
Yep. And I do a little birdie told me some of the events for next year's Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
They're going to do the 3-legged race.
Okay.
And
cornhole eating contest. Cornhole. Okay.
What about and a pie eating contest?
Pie eating contest. What about a hot dog eating contest?
Pie. Oh yeah, hot dog eating contest. There you go.
There you go. That'll be good. How about just eliminate it all together, Chris? I mean, honestly, just eliminate.
Can we give the NFL a timeout?
Yes, we give them a timeout. Eliminate the Pro Bowl skills competition. Eliminate the Pro Bowl. It's okay. We don't need to see them play because they're not going to play. You know what? When you see the Pro Bowl, you think of the NBA All-Star Game. I think Major League Baseball All-Star Game is a lot better than any other All-Star game out there. Maybe hockey's up there, but goodness gracious, just eliminate all the Pro Bowls, all the All-Star competitions. It's ridiculous at the end of the day.
I'm going to talk NBA All-Star Game in a little bit, but the last one, I don't know what you thought about this one. Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow reset the quarterback market.
I certainly think it's possible.
Meant by that?
Well, and what they mean by that is people are going to get paid. You're talking about an excess of over $40 million, $50 million. Joe Burrow, absolutely. Justin Herbert, absolutely. Jalen Hurts, absolutely. That contract that the Kansas City Chiefs got with Patrick Mahomes will seem like a bargain after some of these quarterbacks cash in. So you're exactly right. I definitely think both of those quarterbacks could reset the market along with the Jalen Hurts. Completely agree. And that's the problem.
Okay.
When you look, that's the problem with getting a quarterback under that rookie deal. You have to build your team around them quickly, and hopefully you're a playoff contender. Hopefully you're a Super Bowl contender, because once you sign that quarterback to that big-time contract, you're basically limited. Case in point, Kansas City Chiefs, even though they win a Super Bowl, they lose Tyreek Hill. Still win a Super Bowl, lose Tyreek Hill. Dak Prescott, big-time contract. You lose Amari Cooper. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers loses his top wide receiver and then Devontae Adams. So, it's a good thing. You get them paid, but you're going to lose some pieces along the way.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. All right. Yes. So let me ask you this. Have you watched this new phenomenon this year? Well, it's not new.
Right.
It's actually year 3 of the XFL. Have you watched any XFL this weekend? You told me what, 5 minutes? What's a little bit? How long? How long did you watch?
About 10 minutes. I'm ashamed of myself because I love football. I'm not sure if I can get into this. And I get it. The Rock is running it with his former fiance. The Rock with Danny Garcia. And his
former fiance, Danny Garcia. They went to every single game this past weekend. Good stuff. It's interesting. We're going to be checking out the Orlando team. First of all, the teams. You got the Arlington Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, San Antonio Brahma, named after Brahma Bulls, the Rock.
Well, there you go.
DC Defenders, Orlando Guardians, which were formerly the New York Guardians, Seattle Sea Dragons, St. Louis Battlehawks,
Right.
and Vegas Vipers, formerly the Tampa Bay Vipers.
Right. You took a team out of Tampa. What's up with that?
Tampa to Vegas, New York to Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, interesting in itself. I mean, it's a great idea. It's the third time. Do we need football? I mean, are you interested in it? I'm sort of interested in it, but not really. I mean, there's some former NFL players. You look at the attendance, Arlington, 12,000. Houston, 12,784. San Antonio, 24,245. And DC, 12,000. The average is 15,000. Now, you compare that to 2020's week one average, it was 17,000. So a little bit down there. And then, of course, the two top attendances for all 2020 were St. Louis and Seattle. Neither had a week one home game, which doesn't make any sense because if you're trying to come out of the box, you would put those teams first because they have the highest attendance. And, of course, they're interested in football. These other cities, not so much, besides San Antonio.
So, Seattle basically has nothing. San Antonio has the Spurs. Orlando has the Magic. So those teams kind of make sense. But there's some interesting things, and we'll see, man. I don't know. Sometimes I just want to see football, and that's what they're counting on. I tried to watch some just for this show.
Right.
And also, we're going to be going next week to see what's happening. With the Orlando team, I think they lost 31-3 in San Antonio.
That was ugly. Yeah, not a good start by at all.
Not at all, man. So it's kind of giving me trepidation about what we're going to see next year. Some notable coaches that are there: Bob Stoops, he's in Arlington. Wade Phillips is in Houston. Jim Haslett is in Seattle. Rod Woodson, Vegas. Terrell Buckley in Orlando. Hines Ward is in San Antonio. Anthony Becht is in St. Louis, and Reggie Barlow is in DC. And then some little different tricks. Like, for example, instead of an onside kick, they'll give you a 4th and 13 to try and see if you can advance the ball. Different points. I like it too. Some of the rules are pretty cool. Extra points. If you try for a play at the 2-yard line, you get 1 point. 5-yard line, you get 2 points. Try and score from the 10-yard line, you get 3 points as your extra point.
Sure.
35-second play clock, which begins at the end of the previous play. You go out of bounds or throw an incomplete pass out of bounds, the clock keeps running. But also at 2 minutes, every first down, the clock stops.
Right.
So that's interesting. 3 timeouts per half, and halftime is only 10 minutes. So they're trying different things, which I think it's pretty cool with the XFL.
Well, and I think the NFL will kind of look at that a little bit, and they were looking at that a 4th and 15 play from its own 25-yard line, and if you convert that, which is a lot better than the onside kick, and actually a lot safer, if you will, and the onside kick usually never works. It makes the game a little bit more exciting. But talk about, I mean, the St. Louis Battlehawks come back from 12 down in the final 3 minutes to win 18-15. So I like that better than the onside kick. I think the NFL will take some of these rules and some of these things that have happened, and if they're successful, they'll look at it and try to emulate that down the road. I think they will, and they've done that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And
also the cool thing was thing was the kickoff. So kickoffs, the players, the kicking team, the team lines up in the 35-yard line, and the receiving team lines up on their own 30-yard line. So a ball is kicked, and then they can, once the ball is caught, both teams can move. Instead of them running the full field, building up speed, and just crashing, they're only running from 35 to capture the runner.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's definitely interesting. I like this third time through. I mean, do you remember the first time that they did the XFL?
Yeah, the Orlando Rage. That was awesome. Got to go to a game. That was fantastic, man.
He hate me, right? He hate me.
Yes. Man, and the stage was amazing. They built a giant screen like it was WWF or WWE.
Right.
cheerleaders. It was like going to a rock concert, massive speakers. It was quite a game. The football was terrible, but they put on quite a show. That was
Yeah,
100% Vince McMahon, man.
yes, it was definitely Vince McMahon. And then, of course, 2020, I was embracing it. I even liked the Tampa Bay Vipers at the time. And then all of a sudden, of course, because the pandemic comes around, they're not able. And then The Rock brings it back from the dead because it was basically left for dead by Vince McMahon.
Yep.
So it was tremendous on their part to bring it back. There was also, we talked about former NFL players. Did you know Paxton Lynch? And I'm not sure who he plays for. Does he play for Orlando? Well, there you go. He's the only quarterback, Chris, to ever be benched in an NFL, CFL, XFL, and USFL games. Only quarterback ever.
He deserves a timeout.
Yes. I mean, is it time to give it up for Mr. Lynch at this point? I mean, playing like David Lynch. Jeez.
Oh my gosh, man. Absolutely. Dude was benched in the first XFL game. I mean, come on, man. But they only scored 3 points. Isn't it 31-3 against Houston? Houston,
it looked like
the Roughnecks roughed them up.
Right. Exactly. They did. What was the score of that game?
Was it 31-12?
I think it was. Yes.
Yeah.
31-12. Yeah. So not good by Orlando. Not a good start. Not good.
So did you watch any NBA All-Star Game festivities this past weekend?
I did. I watched some of it. I watched the slam dunk contest, which Mac McClung there.
Yes.
Pretty impressive.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The littlest guy, little white guy, looked like he's, hairline receding a little bit, getting a little thin on top. And this guy just, I mean, the only one that I knew was Kenyon Martin Jr. because I'm a former Nets fan and New Jersey Nets fan. So Kenyon Martin, of course.
We're getting old, my friend. Yes.
We are, man. We are. That's all we had, man. We had to hold on.
His dad playing. Yeah.
His dad. Yeah. He did nothing. So, but this little guy, he brought back the excitement to the NBA dunking contest, man. What did you think of his dunks? Because that was just amazing.
It's amazing. It's good for the slam dunk contest. I mean, a lot of people saying, LeBron James destroyed it because he didn't participate. That's neither here nor there. It would be nice for superstars to participate in it, but at the end of the day, you have to give them some incentive. They're just not going to do it because really they have more to lose than to gain at the end of the day. What if they don't look good? Then it goes against them. You got social media, but it's interesting to note that McClung is a YouTube sensation going all the way back to high school. His highlight reels, his senior year mixtape has more than 3 million views. So it shouldn't surprise anybody with the skills and athleticism that he's been able to do. And then, of course, he paid tribute to his hometown of Gate City, Virginia. He pulled on his high school jersey for the final dunk. And 19 out of 20 judges' scores were perfect 50s, Chris. I mean, 50s, we're talking about the greatness. Yeah, Dominique Wilkins, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Ryder, Vince Carter. I mean, some of the greats there. Dwight Howard comes to mind. Pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
So good for them.
He did not only a 360 dunk, he did a 540 dunk. So he kept turning and slammed it through. This little guy. It was amazing. Real quickly through, Damian Lillard, well deserved. He won the 3-point contest, no problem. Also, this Utah players won the skills challenge. So apparently perfect for the location. The home team won something. There were some quotes about the game and also the location of the game, which are pretty funny. Let me start with Coach Mike Malone. The All-Star game was ridiculous. Okay, Team Giannis won 184 over Team LeBron, who had 175. Jason Tatum scored 55 points, breaking a record set by Anthony Davis. I thought at one point he hit like 7 3-point shots in a row. Dame Lillard was shooting threes from half court. There was zero defense. And Coach Mike Malone said that was the worst basketball game I've ever seen.
Because they don't care. They have no.
They don't care.
I mean, and even Edwards in Minnesota this week talked about it. He says the problem with the NBA is that there are too many nights of players resting. I mean, the regular season doesn't mean anything. It means nothing at all. So you think the All-Star game with all these superstars, they're going to risk an injury? I mean, at the end of the day, to me, it's an exhibition. It's a joke. There's no defense played. It's a typical NBA game. Everybody's just shooting threes. I mean, there's no defense, no physicality. They've taken all of that out of the game. And the fans, they love the dunks. They love scoring. They love threes. You know, this is what you get. This is you get an unbalanced game that's not as entertaining as a lot of people thought it was going to be.
So the cool thing that they do, they have timed quarters, right? And each quarter, they have two charities that they're playing for. And whoever wins the quarter gets the money for their charity. And then the big pot is whoever wins the fourth quarter. So you win the first quarter, there's a prize. Second quarter, there's a prize. Third quarter, there's a prize. And then final quarter is the big pot of money. And in the past, Team LeBron, which has won the previous 5 All-Star games, has both teams really have pushed it in the final quarter to try to win. There's a little bit of defense, better shooting. This year, nobody cared in any of the quarters. It was just an exhibition. It was just ridiculous, man. Interesting thing also, LeBron got hurt. He did a dunk and his finger got caught on the hoop. So he had to leave the game.
That's not good, but with all the Lakers making those trades and now everybody thinking the Lakers are back after they won one game, and that's not going to help their opportunity to go to the playoffs if they're going to even go to the playoffs.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then Giannis came in. I'll give Giannis props. He came into the game with an injured wrist. So he came in. They did the tap. Giannis got in, got a quick close shot, and then he fouled someone and checked out of the game. So he played one play in the All-Star game, and then he left. So he did play. He did play, in quotes. So
I laugh so much. It's just like
hilarious.
You can't compare the eras, right? I mean, you had the Michael Jordan era, even Kobe Bryant, and now you have this line of players. And I'm not saying they're not talented, but it's just it's a totally different mindset. And I don't want to come off as the guy that's saying, get off my grass. But that's how I feel with watching some of the games these days with the NBA. There's a lot of great things about it. These are the bad things about the league, and they need to improve it. And I think, the player from Minnesota is correct. You can't have those nights when you rest. You can't even imagine Michael Jordan ever taking a break or taking a rest. Right. And now you have superstars players resting when there's actually fans out there paying their hard-earned money to see these teams play with their superstars, and the superstars are taking a rest. They're supposed to be more talented and more athletically gifted, and yet they're taking more time off. I mean, make it make sense, Chris.
2 things. Too many games. It was formerly 72, and less than that. They bumped it up to 82. Why does the first round of the playoffs after the play-in game have to be 7 games? It used to be best 3 out of 5, and then you move on to the bigger, more important games. But no, round 1 is 7 games, and it lasts 2 weeks. It takes forever to get through the playoffs. I mean, it's ridiculous. What do you think, man?
I mean, honestly, it's all about the money, right? I mean, that's the reason why they add the games to the National Football League, and it's the reason why they have those games. At the end of the day, it's all about the TV money. And I feel like I'm watching a movie called Basketball, right? I mean, the season that never ended, the longest postseason of all time. That's what it is to watch the NBA. But at the grand scheme of things, the league wants as much money as possible. They want to make as much money off of these superstars and the TV ratings, and that's what drives it. But you're exactly right. Season may be too long. The postseason may be too long. And damn, that All-Star game was way too long. By the way, who said
talk about that, man.
Halftime? Who needed to see that? Nobody wants to see that. And you got Vin Diesel coming out promoting Fast and the Furious 10. It's going to be 10,000. There's still going to be Fast and the Furious movies when we're dead.
Okay, so we talked about this, right? One car, one film, and you guessed it, jumps from one skyscraper to another, right? And
Yes.
that was Fast 7, right?
Fast and the
Um,
Furious. Yes. It's not
and then
possible.
another, I mean,
It's not.
hey, they did. I heard they filmed that in Atlanta. I don't know how. They said they filmed that in Atlanta. Um,
Let us
then they
see.
go to space, right?
Oh, yeah, they went to
Don't they go to
space.
space?
Yeah.
How's it driving in space?
I have
The
no
moon
idea.
car?
I don't even remember that. I don't remember that movie per se, but I remember a lot of them, and just some of the stunts are ridiculous. And they went from like thieves and criminals to like
Yes,
FBI agents, and they have all this military training. I mean, come on, it's
that's
gotten
right.
ridiculous.
They're the Avengers. They're the Avengers now.
Everybody,
Spider-Man is going to join the Fast and the Furious.
right? I mean, just join them all
Excuse
up.
me.
Just do a
Just join
superhero
them up,
movie
man.
with Marvel and Captain America and Iron
That's
Man
right.
coming back, because Vin Diesel cannot die. I mean, the guy can go
No.
go off a cliff or go off a hill
Yeah.
into the
Yes.
water of a canyon and not die.
That's
I mean,
right. No.
and then when they try to kill him off, he just walks out like, not a
Yeah.
broken neck, not a broken leg,
Cool.
nothing wrong with them. It's all about family.
Walks out, got his wife beater on, and he's
Yep.
good to go.
That's it. He's
Is
good to
he
go.
in space with his wife beater?
Yeah, right. So,
Oh my gosh. Okay,
are
couple
you,
more things. There's a bunch
yes.
of go ahead. What were you saying?
Are you going to go see Fast and the Furious 10? We should do that for 24 Flix.
We should do that. Yeah, we'll
Just do a
definitely do
book
that,
tour.
and we'll come back with a movie review for Fast 10 since
That's it.
Vin came back and since he promoted it during NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, because
Man,
that's what everybody wants to see, right? Let's do
everybody
that.
is interested in that watches sports. Big player moving in the NBA, of course. Kyrie Irving going to Dallas. Brooklyn got Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith back, plus some picks. And then the big one, Kevin Durant to Phoenix. Gosh, Brooklyn then got Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, who they sent to Milwaukee, 4 first-round picks, and a swap. Westbrook. The Lakers got rid of Russell Westbrook.
AKA
So,
Russell Westbrook, and you went to the Clippers of all teams, which is interesting in itself. My first
really
thought
cool
is
it worked out for him. Yeah.
Well, the first thought is the Brooklyn Nets were supposed to be a super team, right? And that never worked out because they couldn't stay healthy. They couldn't get right on track, but it was more health than anything else. So how disappointing was that? And then you add Kevin Durant if you're the Phoenix Suns. You already have Devin Booker. You have Chris Paul. Can Chris Paul stay healthy? I think he can. I definitely think right now the Phoenix Suns are the overwhelming favorite because we know if Durant, knock on wood, can stay healthy, Chris Paul can stay healthy, he is deadly in the postseason. We've seen it with the Golden State Warriors. And then on top of it, he doesn't have to necessarily be the guy, right? Because you already have Devin Booker. Right. You already have DeAndre Ayton. You have players on this team. Again, we talked about Chris Paul. So he doesn't have to necessarily be the guy like he was in Brooklyn. So I think Phoenix definitely would be the favorite at the end of the day in that loaded Western Conference.
3 things. Kevin Durant, injured. Chris Paul, coming back from being injured. Devin Booker, coming back from being injured. Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, 2 of their core defensive players. So Chris Paul is old, man. He's old. This might be it for him. Can he stay healthy? That's all it is if they can stay healthy, they got a generous shot at it for sure.
I'm giving you a timeout because you said it best. They have an opportunity to get healthy because the postseason is so long. So as long as they are ready for the postseason, maybe not necessarily the regular season, get a couple reps, of course, develop that chemistry. That's what you mostly have to worry about at the end of the day. They'll be fine.
Right.
And I definitely think with the level of talent, but who knows? But I got to give you a timeout because yes, they may not be healthy right now, but they have some time to get healthy. And once they do, boy, they are going to be a force.
Yeah, because I think they have less than 30 games less in the season. So hopefully, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. The biggest thing, man. So the Russell went on a little path and never had to leave town. So he got traded to Utah Then they bought him out, and all he has to do is move across the hall to the Clippers. And the Clippers apparently are ignoring all the issues he had with LA. Maybe it was LeBron. Maybe it's being second to LeBron. He was effective when he came off the bench, but now he's going to LA with Kyrie. I mean, with Kawhi and Paul George. So we'll see. It looks like a solid team, man. It's going to be interesting which Russell shows up, because his jump shot was a brick. He could still drive in and score whenever he wanted, but he's not nearly as fast as he used to be. But it's going to be interesting. Pat Bev got traded to Orlando for Mo Bamba. So Mo Bamba is a Laker. Pat Bev again didn't have to step out of the house. He got bought out immediately. Is going home. He's born and bred in Chicago, so he's going to Chicago Bulls. I was listening to his podcast a little bit. Very, very happy to be going back home. So we'll see.
Is he bringing his camera with him? Is he going to bring that camera with him? Because if he does that, because that was classic. I mean, that was
classic, man. Oh
yes. Brings
absolutely.
the camera out. You can see that LeBron gets fouled there. He's trying to
show him the replay. That was amazing. I love Pat Bev, man. He's always entertaining. One more thing. Old man Kevin Love has gone to the Heat. They're really excited. I mean, he's a shooter, so he can still gun it from outside. But that's what you got to have. I thought Westbrook would go to Miami, but you're exactly right. I mean, they need a stretch guy, and that's exactly what they got there in a Kevin Love. Give me some final thoughts here on the edition of Timeout here on 24 Flix. So, final thoughts. This is a tough time of year, man. There's no football weekly. NBA is increasing, which is good. For me, Major League Soccer is picking up. National Women's Soccer League is coming. We cover that. So, like, Orlando City starts their season on Saturday, and then XFL, the Guardians, coming to Orlando on Sunday. So it's gonna be a busy weekend for me. But I just want to ask everyone to continue to watch and listen to the Timeout show and podcast. We are on YouTube on the 24 Flix page, and then we will soon be out at all of your favorite podcast outlets, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, man. Pete, it's really good to hang out with you, man. It's a good time.
Absolutely, and definitely always a great edition here of Timeout on 24 Flix with the great Chris Cuff. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Once again, tune in to Timeout, because you never know when you're going to get a timeout.
Later.